Hello, my crafty friends. Well, today I am going to show you how to create an interlocking fun fold card using some circle shapes. Hi, it's Lynn Dunn from Stamptastic Designs. Thanks so much for joining me today. In this episode of Stamptastic TV, I have two different card ideas featuring the use of the Deckled Circle Dies just to create an interlocking fun fold card. So basically, I use the circles to create the interlocking mechanism to keep this card closed. Now, the cards in this video feature the hot air balloon bundle from Stampin Up. So this particular bundle has a stamp set and a coordinating die set. So I will be using this set just to do some decorating with the cards, but you can use any supplies that you have on hand with this particular design. And of course, the key element in this particular card design are the circle shapes. So I am using some of Stampin' Up's Deckled Circles, and I'm actually using 3 of them that are right next to each other in this particular pack. And that is what I will be using to create the interlocking fun fold section of this card. Okay, so this is the card that I'm going to walk you through, and I'm going to show you how to create this little interlocking mechanism right here. So I have different circle shapes and they layer together, which makes it very easy to create this little interlocking mechanism. So if you don't have the Deckled Circle dies, then be sure to choose a circle die that layers together. And let me show you what I mean. So each of these circles fit within each other. So I have 3 different layering circles that I'm using to create this particular interlocking fold. So to create the different circle shapes for this fold, I started with these 2 outer pieces, so the 2 largest circle shapes. And I created the largest one using petal pink, simply because that's what coordinates with the card base that I created. And then I created the second one just using a piece of white cardstock. So these 2 are actually going to layer together to create the left side of this fun fold card. And then the smaller shape, so this is the one that is in the middle here. The smaller shape I created from a piece of designer paper. And you'll notice that the designer paper has the same pattern on both sides, and that's what I wanted. So I basically adhered 2 pieces of designer paper together. So I adhered them back to back so that I could create a little element that had the same pattern on both sides. And you do want to use 2 pieces of pattern paper together. It will actually just strengthen this circle shape here so that when you create the interlocking mechanism, this piece will be more sturdy like a piece of cardstock. Once you adhere these 2 pieces together, you can actually just cut out the design with the die right through the 2 pieces. So the die will cut right through these 2 pieces. All right, so that is how I created the different circle shapes. So the next thing I did is just created the pieces that I'm going to use for my card base. So I just have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of petal pink, and that is going to be the base of the card. And then I have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece of just one of the lighter than air designer series papers. So these 2 pieces will become the base of our card. So what we need to do now is we need to create the fun fold section using these circles. So we're going to set aside our petal pink cardstock for now, and we're just going to focus on using this piece of designer paper. And I'm going to arrange my circles on this piece of designer paper so that I know how I want them to overlap. So we're going to get a little bit of overlap here with this designer paper. And then we have our cardstock piece there, the petal pink. And then this white piece is going to go over the top. So it's going to look like this. And you want that overlap so that you can create the interlocking section of this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some glue. And I don't want glue on the section where this piece is going to overlap onto the pink. So I want a little bit of glue right here. And then we'll add some glue around the rest of it. And then we're just going to take our white piece and we're just going to put it over the top. And we'll just give that a little second to set up. But basically, you want this little piece here to be able to freely go underneath this white piece and on top of the petal pink. So that's what creates your interlocking mechanism. So while the glue is drying, what I'm going to do is just add a little pencil mark right over here on the side. And then I'm going to add a little pencil mark right over here. And this is where I'm going to score these pieces so that the area where I score is going to get folded behind the designer paper, and that's going to create our little fun fold section. So I'm just going to place this circle in my paper trimmer, and I'm just going to use the scoring blade on my trimmer. And I'm just going to score between these two little pencil marks that I put there, because that is the section that I'm going to fold behind the designer paper. So we'll just add a nice little score line there. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this piece. And I'm just going to go and score in between those two score lines. All right, so now that I have the score lines on here, I just need to fold on the score lines. And this folded section is just going to get adhered behind my designer paper. So it'll just get adhered behind there. And then this one, the same thing, we're just going to fold on this score line. And so I'm going to adhere this large circle first. So I just kind of push this up against the side of the paper, and we'll add some glue behind here. And then we'll just push this over and give that a moment to set. All right, so that is the front of the card. So we got part of our fun fold. And now this little section is just going to tuck under here. So I'm going to tuck it right away. And then we'll flip this over and we will add our glue on this side. And so that is what our fun fold looks like so far. So once you have these pieces glued on, you can go ahead and adhere them to your card base. So again, I just have a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch piece of petal pink. And so that is what I'm using for my card base. So we'll just adhere this right to our card base. And then we have our fun fold. And so now we can go ahead and decorate this fun fold. So to decorate this card, I just cut out a couple of balloon shapes out of the Lighter Than Air Designer Series paper. So these two balloons are actually going to overlap a little bit. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to this side, the side that is overlapping onto the other one. And then once I have that adhered, then I can go ahead and just add my balloons. So I'm just popping them up with a couple dimensionals. And we'll just pop these up right here. The next thing I did is just create little baskets for my balloons. So I have a little dimensional kind of tucked on this little basket. So I'm just going to pop these up on my balloons. And then the last thing I'm going to do, just add a couple little clouds. So I'm just going to pop these up kind of right on the front here. And I just added dimensionals to the section that hangs off of the balloon. So most of it overlaps onto the balloons. And that is how I decorated the front. And then I just opened up the inside, and on the inside, I started by adding a 1 3/4 by 4-inch piece of white cardstock. So I just wanted a place where I could put a little greeting or write a little message. So this is just going to fit right in between these two little circle shapes. And then I used one of the dies from the set and just stamped a little birthday greeting. And I'm just going to add this kind of to the top here. But I still have a little bit of space to write a message, sign my name. And then here is just another version of this fun fold, just in different colors, just kind of decorated a little bit differently than the last one. But the concept for creating this interlocking fun fold is the same. Okay, so there you go. Now you have a fun way to use circle shapes to create an interlocking fun fold card. And if you enjoyed these card ideas, feel free to download the printable tutorial. You can find the link in the description below this video. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this video, please let me know by liking it and sharing it with your friends. And leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed most about the video and the cards shared here today. Have a fun and creative day, my friends. Take care.